Rodney's More FM, and they're based in Silverdale. We're very lucky enough to call him our resident lawyer. It's the legalteam.co.nz. Richard Worker, welcome to the show once again. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Nick. Nice to be here.
If you've got any questions for Richard and want to put any questions to him, Rodney at morefm.co.nz, and we can, anonymously put them to Richard, and so he can answer it. He can answer those questions on air. Now, the first one, I rub my hands with these questions because I don't know what the answer is, but you do, hopefully. So here's an anonymous one that has been put to us. I've got quite a lot of Kiwisaver. I'm separating and need to know what will happen to my Kiwisaver. That's a great question.
It is a really good question, and people are often surprised as to what happens with Kiwisaver. We've discussed before that kids when we were talking about wills, that maybe kids do have Kiwisaver, and there's a surprising amount of Kiwisaver there.
Yes.
On a separation, the rules with Kiwisaver is that the part of the Kiwisaver that has been accumulated during the relationship is relationship property.
Oh.
So if one started to live together or got married, say, in 2015, then the portion that was contributed prior to 2015 would be the separate property of the person who owned it.
Right.
After 2015 to the date of separation, then that would be considered to be relationship property and split 50-50 on the basis that the Kiwisaver was accumulated using what would be considered to be relationship property funds. So, however, the detail can be quite complicated because obviously if you have a reasonable amount of Kiwisaver, just use the figure $50,000-$60,000, finding $30,000 to pay your separated spouse out can be quite difficult.
Yes.
You can do it by an adjustment from other relationship property if that works, or there is in the Act, under Section 31 of the Relationship Property Act, one can apply to the court to withdraw part of your Kiwisaver to be able to pay your partner out. Now, if both parties have Kiwisaver, you might be able to offset that and so on. That's a possibility.
Yes.
But otherwise, you can apply to court. I find one of the interesting questions is that if one has separated and one actually doesn't resolve one's relationship property for a year or longer, what happens if the Kiwisaver has gone up or down from that time? So at the date of separation, the Kiwisaver may have been $60,000, but at the date when you actually resolve your differences on property, it may have gone up or it may have gone down. If it's gone down, then at what date do you actually take the value of the Kiwisaver? Quite an interesting question, because obviously over the last year or so, Kiwisaver has dropped a bit, and it would seem unfair for the person to have to pay out more than the Kiwisaver's worth at the date of the resolution of the property as opposed to separation.
And for those who work in a situation where the company or the workspace goes 50-50 of the Kiwisaver as well, so that's just, they don't even take into account for that, do they? Because it's just all on that particular person's Kiwisaver, no matter who's contributed. Doesn't matter if it's the job or
that's right. It's whatever the total is at that time, because the employer's contribution would be considered part of the remuneration package, and so would be relationship property. So again, one has to sort of talk to one's lawyer about that and just work out the best way forward. But people are a little bit surprised to think that all or part of their Kiwisaver might be relationship property. There are other interesting questions when people bring in a retirement fund from overseas and lodge it into their Kiwisaver. Is that part from overseas part of the relationship split money, or is it separate property? Again, it all comes down to detail, and one has to look at it at the time. But people do get a little bit of a shock. Yeah, that's fantastic, fascinating. If you've got any more queries or any more questions for Richard, thelegalteam.co.nz, go there and they will be able to help you out with all your needs. Fascinating, love it.